Trader JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, January 23, 28. On this fine afternoon, talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P having its worst day in about 3 months, down about 2%. NASDAQ taking on a chin. Bitcoin down over 6%. VIX up nearly 10%. Just all the things that you would have in a sell-off day is kind of happening here today. And so the question is, where do we go from here? And that's always the question. Just, I wouldn't say we're at the crossroads today, but you take a look at my annotations, right? So it's no, not the irony, but I just put in my 686 or so spot on my chart. We hit that on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday of last week. And then boom, we're right back down to 676. So the good, maybe that's a nice little support area, a little springboard action, or is this the start of a bigger pull? And I'll talk about it in a second. It's tough to me. I need to. I'm here to make money, right? So you make money on the puts and play for more downside. You hold on, put your money. You don't just throw money to try and play for more carnage. And then wait for bounce opportunities, or you just kind of sit on your hands. And right now, today's like one of those days, and I'll give an example. And I don't know if you have the chart here, but this is quick on this is Broadcom today, right? And this is what I think or swim. I think I copied and pasted from here, but this is Broadcom today, right? And that's typically one of my go-to put hedge names. So when the proverbial poop is hitting the fan, I have names that I go to: the Broadcoms, the ASMLs, the AMD, most recently Lam Research. And those names are holding up today. I wouldn't say holding up. But and then Broadcom at the open, I'm looking, and even we're gapping out. It's only like down 2%. It's kind of holding its ground after the open. So not only that, it bounced up like 343. So I sat on my hands there. So I didn't add put hedges. And then on the flip side, and I'll talk about Roku in a second. So if I did go get put hedges, I think these are the 310s or 315s. These are the puts. Let's see, do I have this here? Yes, I do. So you could get chased in at the open, get those puts at 344, and then Broadcom chops around and actually melts all day, right? So Broadcom, which is trading at 333 right now, it's actually at the lows of the day, 332 it hit. Those 310s, let's see, do I have the chart here? The 310s are still at 72 cents, 72. So you're up 9 cents. So my point is the stock is down $10 from those levels. And in order to, you're almost pretty much flat until just now, right? So so it's tough, right? I'm not here to make 10 cents on a $70 contract. I'm here for it to be $1.40, then 2.10, then 3.10. So because of that, it just doesn't. It's not my trade, right? I'm not gonna, especially if you're doing some of these put hedges. Some of them are not going to go the right way. So I need to be able to position where if they don't go the right way, and weekly strikes, they can turn on you quick to be able to make money. If I'm not making a couple bags on some of these trades, it just doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, that's kind of like today in a nutshell. But 676 and change, that's a big spot here. So my thought is like, so just some rationalizations like, okay, so today after close, we have Netflix. Is this all about Greenland? Is this more tariff concerns? And I just think I just think there's more opportunity, or at least I'm still cautiously optimistic. So my hope is that the markets find some footing, consolidate, and then we can go back into the mode of some of these names that have been outperforming to start the year, the smaller cap names, start to go. And even if we do have a little more of a pull, other names can do well. And some of it is, it's like similar back when we had the last pull back in December. The half my watch list would be green. Back in November, and then in the middle of December too, when we had the pull. The watch list was half green just a little while ago. We had the pull, so it's not half green anymore. But it's still a lot of substantial amount of names on my watch list that are still green. So, that's kind of how I take it with a grain of salt. The thing that I keep saying, the thing that really concerns me, the thing that I watch is the 10-year, right? And the 10-year is up, not too crazy, nothing crazy yet. But if it continues to head in the wrong direction, then that's kind of where I'd be waving the flag, right? And you already have what the 10-year in Japan went to its highest level in 30 years. Those are things that were going to happen at some point, right? I mean, Japan can't be stuck in this age of no return, no rates at zero. Just it had to end, right? So you just hope it's not the hard landing; it's the soft landing. But all right, that's conversation for other day, market fodder for other day. But we'll see what tomorrow brings. I guess the good thing is tomorrow morning, I believe at 8:30 time, Trump is going to do a presentation. He's going to have a speech at Davos. So he just did his little press conference, his 1 year anniversary, I guess it is, uh, and pretty much did probably any surprise that might come out of left field, he did just now. So if there's any concern that he's going to come out with some surprise statement, uh, maybe that alleviates some fear heading into tomorrow. But we'll see what happens. Tomorrow, maybe we'll get a pull at the open, reversal, and then maybe we can find some footing, right? If not, then I'll look for positions to play for downside. The other, other names I'm looking at, right? The ASMLs, and you take a look at ASML, it was a 13. I mean, I was trading it back in December at $1,000, right? So here it is after having a 30% rally since the start of 2026, where it was 1050 start, it all the way up to 1350 last week, and then even today it opens at 1319, and instead of selling off with the market, actually it bounced, right? So you can sit there and get the puts and think, okay, here's the chance, all the way up to 1350 by 12 o'clock, and even now it's down 2%. So my names that I normally look for put hedges on, not performing the task. So the silver lining with that is I didn't get puts on those, right? So yeah, at some point, if there is a pull, it's not going to matter what stock you're in. It's not going to matter. The things that really get me, and I this time last year I was talking about Intuit, right? And my thing on Intuit was AI, and AI was going to kill it because back when we had new administration coming in, they were talking about tax reform, and one of the big issues doing taxes, obviously, is all the paperwork, the loopholes, all those things. So when you have a platform that is free, or people doing service for free, or you have a reform of that entire system where there's not as many piece of paper and all that stuff to go through. Intuit's, I don't know if it's like 30 or 40% of our business is tax software, tax related. So of course, never wrong, just early. Intuit finally taking it on the chin here. But so same with all these other software related names. I mean, it's still, I think we're still in the early stages of these names that people, it's like all of a sudden there's a revelation like, oh my gosh, AI can supplant this technology. AI can replace this software company. AI replaces, and then as people get more adept at figuring out different solutions using AI, it's like these names that were generating monster revenues at high margins are not doing that anymore, right? And even this morning, who is it? ServiceNow came out with a partnership with ChatGPT. It's like, I would say they're like bending the knee, but it's like if you don't have a deal with these AI names, you're either going to you're going to go the way of the dinosaur. It's just going to happen. So, and funny enough, ServiceNow is in the red this morning. But again, ServiceNow was $200 something stock. I remember trying to trade that one. Not going to go on rants on the ones I've missed, but you start looking at that premise, and same with Wix. I mean, take a look at Wix, $80 stock. Names that I wish I got ahead of that, and that's why I don't know, it was 6 months ago I was very uber bearish Adobe, right? Adobe, same kind of premise where a lot of the things that they provide are AI replaces. So on the flip side, you have bulls, and people are, it was 350 stock. And people are also most fundamentally sound company out there. You look at its P multiple, lowest in decades, and sure enough, it's still down $70 from that level. Maybe it still goes, right? Rates for other day. All right. So in a nutshell, trying to chase puts just because we're in the red today doesn't mean you make money on the puts, right? That's kind of my the rationale, the moral of my story is you could have been in puts at the open and still be losing money. And there's nothing more frustrating with the market being down 2% of getting puts and still being in the red. So anyway, all right, so that's overall market. So don't be, I mean, I'm still open to getting put hedges. And I always say always be hedging. I just don't have that feel today that we're going to have some crazy pullback. And knock on wood, it's my famous last words, we'll gap down 2-3% tomorrow. I think there would have to be some other kind of crazy headline that comes like U.S. troops on the ground in Greenland. Boom, we'd be down substantial. Do I think that's going to, I don't think that'll be the case. But if it is, I'm not going to sit there and get lotto puts just in case that happens. But those would be scenarios that I don't think is priced into the market. All right, it's overall market. Quick on individual names. So I got Roku calls. I actually was looking at the 108s. Those were 60 cents. Then I was looking at the 109s, and then I finally pulled the trigger on the 110s. They were actually up 65. I think they were actually up 80% plus when it hit highs at the noon hour at 105. It was in the green. Market was in the red. I'm like, it's a great sign, relative strength compared to the rest of the market. And then boom, just started to melt into the afternoon. It's only down 1%, but unfortunately the premiums on the calls, if I wasn't in the calls, the premiums would be flat. But since I'm in the calls, they're in the red. I'll hold them. We have Netflix earnings after the close. I think I don't know how many years I've tried to trade Roku for sympathy moves on Netflix earnings. Maybe this is the one that finally does it. It's funny, right? They're doing this Warner Brothers M&A, billions of cash, doing all these things. I'm like, they should just buy out Roku. But Of course, wishful thinking being a Roku bull, that's of course what I want to see. But anyway, I still think you take a look at the chart. I mean, this will be the sixth day in a red unless there's some kind of last 20-minute rally. But 50-day moving average right there, 104. I don't think it'll take much to get going. Even last week and the week before, huge upgrades. Evercore upgraded Roku, Bank of America, $145 price target. All these other analysts have just upgraded the stock over the last couple of weeks. And here it is, pretty much at levels since we haven't seen since the start of December. So hopefully find some footing. Netflix can provide a little surge. Speaking of Netflix, I think it's like 6.7% implied move. I would love to get calls on Netflix. I said this a couple weeks ago. I think this deal with Warner Bros. is like creates uncertainty around Netflix, right? If you're buying Netflix, you're not buying Netflix to have a catalog of Warner Brothers, right? You're buying them because of what they've done, what they've created, and what they're continuing to do, not for them to go out and acquire the ability to create content and all these other titles. I don't like that deal, but uh, needless to say, for me, it's kind of kept me away from trying to get the calls. And here it is. It's at $88. And it's down substantial since it's split. I think I traded the split into the split, right? Uh, I remember trading it last year during Liberation Day. The stock was like $800. I'm like, this is one of those names that could rally even if even if there is a recession. Sure enough, Netflix went on an epic run from like 900 to $1,300. I would love to get calls on Netflix here after the close because I think it's like peak negativity. It's even I post my implied moves on FinTwit and people are like, oh, Netflix so overvalued. And I'm like, where have you been? I mean, stock's down 30%. It's like, if you think it's overvalued now, gosh, what do you think was? And to me, it's just like the whole story now. It's just an easy story to pick holes in. So maybe this is the earnings that finally, maybe it has a big move to the upside. Hopefully it does. All right, so that's Roku. And then just some other names. The good thing I was saying on the watch this morning, I'm not in many names heading into this week. And then the names I'm in, I've locked in profits or holding freebies and Roblox, right? All the way up to $91 on Friday. Locks them in on the way up, 100%, 200%, close to 400%. And then I'm holding the last couple. And I was actually looking to get some more strikes at the open. Thankfully, sat on my hands. It actually showed a little strength at the open. I thought, oh, wow, we might have some kind of reversal all the way up to, let's see, what did we open at? 80, it was like 83 and change, all the way up to near 85. And then boom, someone just said, okay, we're not buying the stock today. And it's been sell mode ever since. It's down nearly 10%. The thing is, maybe it has a reset button back down to $75. But I'll continue to look for opportunities on this one. Unfortunately, I have the last couple of my calls; those are going to expire, but that comes with the territory. That's why take the risk off, right? When you get a chance, sometimes you got to take some off, especially when they're up 100% or whatever, cover costs, because you never know what the market has in store. All right, so that's Roblox. Other names, Viking sitting up here down 1.7%. Actually, a tight little pennant here. My thoughts here. I'm not going to go too much on around VKTX. The January strikes paid off nice. Now I'll have those February 50s. I'll just continue to hold those. I don't even know if I'm going to do this rinse and repeat, where if we get to the February expiration, there's no buyout of Catalyst, I move forward with the strikes. But that's VKTX. Not going to do anything there. Serve Robotics. I was actually close to getting some March 17 calls. I think they were like 40 cents. Let's see what they were earlier. They were more than that. I don't have my charts here. All the way up to 1410, then back down 1380, then back into 1400s, and then boom, at 1 o'clock, it goes from 1370 down to 1335, and here it is at 1343. I mean, it's still up for the year. It's been volatile. I'm not going to just add calls because I'm bullish the name, right? The market right now is not agreeing, but at some point, I'll look to get some more strikes to play for upside on that one. Reddit this morning, all the way down to 217 at the open, and boom, within a matter of 25 minutes, that did a $10 reversal. I'm not gonna try and rush anything. Look at Boston Beer today. It's a name I used to love back in the past. I don't know if I was talking about last week or the week before in regards to. I think I was talking about when I was talking about cocoa. But sitting here at 217.50 at the highs of the day, that's a name I wish I can wrap my head around, get some calls and rationalize it. But I'll just sit on my hands there. I'm trying to think of some of the other names, but that's it. Like today, one of these days you can get demolished, right? I mean, maybe unless you had the puts in Friday heading into today, and even that, I mean, did you lock them in and then rinse and repeat? Today's, to me, it's like a tough day to try and, number one, try and get put hedges, and then if you do try and play, or if you do the reverse and try and get some bounces, you get destroyed. So just gonna keep it small today, and then when I see opportunities to get more conviction, certainly I'll be the first to to be to be aggressive. Anyway, let's have a great day, folks. I'll be back. Rock and roll.